Hi everyone, welcome back to Spooky Season Crafts. We're trying. We have at least 5 days on our belt, and today will be day six. I want to share some happy mail that I got from Wandering Dreamer 555. And before I say anything, I just want to say thank you so much. It really, really means a lot. Touched my soul and spirit. She sent this. I am a fan of VersaFine. Thanks to Heather for schooling me on how to use it with my photopolymer stamp. So this will be a great addition. I'm going to set it to the side. I'm not going to open it just yet, but Nocturne is black, right? I can't wait to use it. And then she sent me these two beautiful cards. I'm sure the first one. Um, and her sentiment inside was so pretty. This card, I don't remember seeing her make this card. I have missed her making a lot of stuff that she sent me. I'm like, hi, how did I not see this? But it's so pretty, and I love that she embosses her whole card because I love doing, running my hand over. But it's a sympathy card, and I thank you so much for my uncle's passing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Um, and it's always a thought, right? It's always a thought. And then she sent this one. We're doing a collaboration, and I watched her make this card, and I still don't understand how this inky thing works. But yeah, I won't open it in inside because inside's for me. But the outside we can all share inside. I know she was talking about this paper. I was going to say that I use photo printer paper. The glossy paper that I usually get from the thrift store. I've did some inky stuff like that, but it's probably not as good as what's supposed to be. But yes, thank you so much for thinking about me and my little guy. I really appreciate it. Makes me smile. All right, y'all. We about to get messy, okay? And by messy, I don't mean talking about people. I mean like making a mess. All right, so I'm gonna get me some thick cardstock, and what we're gonna pull out is some parchment paper. This came from uh, Dollar General, I believe, and some napkins. I picked these up from Dollar 99-cent only store. I want to say a couple of years ago, but I can't be sure. I know I haven't been to the 99-cent store in a long time. I had heard that it was going out of business, but I'm not sure. I haven't been there this whole year, I don't believe. So it had to have been last year or year before last. Now, what I'll tell you about napkins is that they're very expensive to use for wiping your face and for crafting. I'm like, just give me a paper towel and I'll be okay. But some people like fancy napkins, and why not use them? The good thing about some napkins is the paneling. If you have a good panel napkin, you can get a lot of crafts out of it. Let's see if we have a good panel napkin. We have a good panel napkin. We can get four creations out of this one napkin. Now, before we go any further, I do want to go on the record and say that I'm not a big fan of the little perforated edges, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do is just put this to the side for now. Get our um, Mod Podge out, or whatever glue you like to use, and I prefer to use Mod Podge. I'm gonna get out some parchment paper, or you could just get out a, what is that word? The shiny paper, cling. You can get cling out as well, but we're gonna use our parchment paper. So I'm gonna tear two strips of parchment paper. So this will be our first strip. Let's move our some of the stuff that we don't want to get wet. Move that stuff to the side because if it gets wet, oof, it's a mess. All right, so we got that. Now I'm going to take my paper. Now hopefully the camera doesn't start flickering. Let's do this, and then let's get out a ruler because we need to measure out our pumpkin. Actually, we don't even need to measure it out. So we know we can only get two cards um, with this paper, and that's okay. No big deal. So now we're going to take our paintbrush. Now this paintbrush, I made a mistake and left it. I didn't scrub it right away. So I've been trying to clean out the bristles. You can see it has some little glue remnants on it. I don't want to throw it away because I feel like it's a good Mod Podge brush. So I just scrub it, scrub it, scrub it, and let it dry out now. So now we're going to open up our Mod Podge. I'm going to need some strength. All it took was a little bit of elbow grease. All right, so now we're going to just go ahead and dip this in. Normally I would say pour it. I would prefer to pour it. So pour it if you can pour it onto. I usually use a paper plate, but I'm thinking about getting like an acrylic thing to just pour it on, and then I should be able to pull up the excess, the dried glue. But it is Mod Podge, right? So Mod Podge has a tendency to stick to everything, make everything sticky. All right, so I'm just applying glue to this whole thing, this whole one side, I should say. So this technique I prefer a lot better than the wax cling and all that. I've done it both ways, but I just prefer this way. I feel like this is a adhesive, like some tape versus not tape. All right, so that's one. Gonna set this to the side and let it dry. You see it kind of curls over. That's okay. No big deal. No one's gonna be upset. You're gonna take this one and repeat. October is the month that I tend to start to kind of get a little bit anxious because it's my son's birthday. So I always kind of freak out like, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Blah, blah, blah. And this year, I am in trouble because he likes Legos, and I can't buy Legos for everybody as a party favor. So I'm trying to figure out. So now I'm just going to dip my brush in the water. And this is a Michael's brush. I think it's the Artist Loft brush. It shouldn't be that loose, but it is. Maybe I snatched it apart when I shouldn't have. So now I'm just going to move all of this to the side. And I'm gonna take this paper off because I don't want it to stick to this. So I'm gonna just take that paper off. But I'm gonna let it dry. And while we're letting that paper dry, we're gonna go ahead and prep our napkin. Okay, so I have a heat. What's this thing called? It's a heat pad, a heat press mat. So if you want to have like shirts and stuff, you can do that. I only pulled it out so we can iron our napkin straight a little bit so we can just get some of those wrinkles out or the creases out. And this is my regular iron, and I have it on no steam. And this thing gets, it gets the wrinkles out. I did not pull out my little mini press, my heating press. I should have, but I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. So just bear with me, okay? I am still ironing everything, all the plies and everything are still on there. So just keep that in mind. And I'm just going to set my iron to the side and hope not to burn any cording that is going to the computer. So now I'm going to take my napkin I'm just going to fold it back onto the crease. The crease that we cut, I mean ironed out, is okay. I was trying to iron out any lumps and bumps and other things along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this napkin in half on the line. All right. And then I'm going to cut it again right here. And then I'm going to look at this napkin and say, do I really want this top piece? Because you can see how it's like all wrinkly. Not wrinkled, but the line is there. And then this edge. So no, I don't. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down right here. And I'm going to cut some of this border off as well. And the same thing with this one. Just so you can all see what we're doing. Hold up. This looks crooked. So let's go ahead and cut this. Yes, just a little bit on the crooked side. And even though we are going to be taking this apart, I wanted to get it as close as what we're doing as possible so we're not wasting um, our time basically. Okay, then I'm going to cut this down again because once it gets on the card we will have to cut it down again, but we can work on that later. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other half. Okay, so I have made some panels for the card. And I think we're going to do the card today. The reason why is because my little guy is up. Not that there's a big deal, but I don't, I want to try to keep one project per day versus trying to cram everything in. So this will not be the finished project, but when I measured this out, this was like 4.5. So you see it comes almost to 5. And then this is almost to 5 as well. So I figured that if when I iron it on there, I could make it go to 4.5, and it could be 4.5 by 4.5, and then this would be 5 by 5, but on the white paper, right? So, but this is what we're doing next. And now, let's go ahead and take off these plies. I'm going to just use a little bit of Alene tacky glue. I'm going to put some on my fingertip. Do like that with it. So it's nice and tacky. You see. It should just pop open. If it doesn't, that's okay. Now here's the part where you need to practice finesse and not brute strength, right? And they said it was only 2 ply versus multiple ply. And if you are that kind of person that could take this and do something with it, more power to you. I'm just going to use it to clean my hands because I don't have that mental capacity to do those kind of things. So I'll show you one more time. Well, actually, we can do all 4. Glue in, putting a little bit of glue. Tap, tap, tap. I love finding napkins in the clearance section at the craft stores, like the discount stores for cheap. That used to be like $4 or $5, and now they're $2. Even $2 is a bit much, in my opinion, for some paper that I'm going to be destroying. I think if I was actually using it for what it's designed for, it's a little bit different. So sometimes I'll leave it in the store for the person that actually needs that for their dinner party. I'm like, I just use paper towels. And even those are expensive, right? All right, so our glue has dried up. You probably could use some of your Mod Podge as well. I'm going to use this side because this side is a little bit water cut. All right, so we got all four our panels. Now let's go ahead and bring in our mat and stuff. All right, so I have put down a piece of parchment paper just because I don't want the glue, which is the shiny side. You can tell the difference. Well, maybe you can't, but I can. This is shiny and this is not. The camera's like, listen, don't do that anymore. All right, so then we're going to take this and we're going to put it right here. We may only be able to get one panel per paper, and that's okay, I guess. That doesn't really make me happy, but that's okay. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on top of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be mindful of the glue because I don't want to glue down. I should have did the whole thing, but I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking I could, in my head I was like, yes, these panels will fit. These napkins will fit across, even though we measured it and it didn't. So that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just smooth this out with my hand. Yeah. And I'm going to do that. Just like that. So now I'm just going to take my iron and not burn myself because that would not be good. And I'm just going to iron it down some. Now because we've applied the Mod Podge on the back, eventually this will stick down and it'll act like a transfer. Now if you want to use your cling, you sure can, but I think this is just easier and neater. Where I messed up is I have this big giant iron. I don't have my little baby craft iron or my other little iron on thing. So I'm just going from one. I wanted to show you that you could use it with your regular iron as long as you protect the iron. Because this iron, Black& Decker is, I, I want to say I'm a product loyalist in some regards. And I had bought a Black& Decker iron a long, long time ago for like $10. It was like $9.99 at Walmart. Like 1990 something, right? And I had that iron for about 10 or 15 years. And somebody I know dropped it on some marble floor, like really hard marble, and it broke. And I was like, I'm never gonna get a chance to get an iron that well made again. So I went and I was trying to find another Black& Decker. Of course, 9.99 is unheard of, right? You see how it's sticking? That was the goal not to happen, not to have that stick. So if in the future, when we do this, we'll just cut down our panel to fit the exact size. But we want these edges to stick, all right? And not this part. We could always redo this side because we could put more glue down. And now I'm just checking to see how it is. And we do have plenty of room to put our other panel on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another way to do it without making a big mess, right? So we're going to take this, get our scissors, and we're just going to take our piece and we're just going to cut it. There we go. Put this to the side. And while what we're doing is letting that our first piece dry. And see, even though we ironed this thing, it still has that little wrinkle in it. So let's go ahead and re-iron it again really quickly. Even though we have our craft supplies and things that are supposed to get like ruined and it's okay, I still don't like that to happen. So even though the mat is okay to get hot, I don't want it to get goo on it, right? Like, so that's why we're protecting it with this. And then we're going to take our parchment paper again and just go crazy now. Woo! And so this is three. Three is the number, it's the highest number without steam. But if you have a crafting mat, a crafting iron, it won't matter because most craft irons don't steam anyway. So that's something to keep in mind. I love decoupage, napkin decoupage. It's like one of my favorite things. I don't know what about it just makes me happy, but it does. Something about it just says, use me. I'm here for you. I don't know. All right. And it's something satisfying about just earning it. I don't know. It's something just speaking to me right now. It's like, yes, I totally understand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. So let's see if it's all transferred over. We definitely want to make sure there's no bubbles, no lumps and bumps, and it looks like it. So let's go ahead and get the first one that we had and cut it down. All right, so now I've cut this. This is the first one. I cut it down. So I still want to get some of this black line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to um, cut it down a little bit. All right. Now I want to say that this is our edge to go by. All right. Let's see if it's straight. It is not. So that's okay. We're going to come over here and cut this down. And let's see if this is our edge to go by. Yes, that is the edge to go by. So remember, we need to get this down to 4.5, right? This is our 4.5 mark. And right now we're a little bit over. And that's okay because we're going to trim it up anyway around the whole thing. All right. So we're just going to make sure. Okay. So let's come over here really quickly and trim that down. I feel like this paper wants to fold up on us. And it should not be doing that, but that's okay if it is. We'll fix that too. All right. Okay. Now the 5 looks a little bit too big. That's what I was worried about because I wanted it to be 4.5, but maybe I should have. I'm not going to, but maybe I should have did another layer with the orange in there or even a white layer, but we did not do that. That's good. So now we're going to take our glue. I'm not sure if you've ever made a napkin card before, but even after you've ironed it on and everything, the texture on the outside of the card, I don't know, does it feel like, is it flocking that people use? It feels really smooth and like, what is this? That's what I'm reminded of when I use it. I'm gonna turn it over because I don't want to rub that napkin off with my crazy rubbing hands. Okay, I have a stamp. Even though we're not gonna put it the whole card together, I do want you to know that I am prepared to make a card. I want to use trick or treat. I like it. So trick or treat. I love trick or treating. Um, I look forward to it every year now in a different capacity of don't I don't know. I think that we have my mindset is a lot different than you know kids and I'm okay with that, I think. But it's just different now, right? Life is different than how it was when we were younger. The people that are over 20, things change, right? Maybe 30. If you're over 30, things have definitely changed. And you have different requirements, life requirements. It's like things that you are okay with doing or you would be okay with people doing is not okay and it is okay. It's like the opposite of what used to be okay and what is not okay now. I hope that makes sense. Because some things you're like, it's not that big of a deal. And others be like, no, it's a huge deal. Um, we're going to go ahead and take this trick or treat. Oh, I should have used my VersaFine ink, my little gray one, but I did not. Dang it. All right, let's go ahead and put this right here. Treat did not come off. It came off, but it wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to go on the paper, not on, stay on the stamp. So let's do that one more time. All right. And y'all know I can't cut straight lines, so let's go ahead and let's not even take any chances, okay? I cut that short, very short. We're gonna keep it. All right. Now, if I could find my, I think this is it. Yep. So let's go ahead and get some foam tape. First, we're gonna ink up this edge. Oh no, orange is missing. Has anyone seen our orange? Excuse me, I'm drinking some water. I'm trying to stay all of the things hydrated, headache free, pain free. And this week I went to the doctor on Monday. And then I ended up going to the doctor again on Wednesday or Thursday morning, I think it was. And he fussed at me. It's like, don't go to urgent care. Just tell him I said you can come and get seen. It's like, yes, sir. It's so interesting how we take things for granted until you can't do it. Like you don't say thank you feet for moving me around. You just kind of get up and go. But then when you can't walk, you're like, why are my feet working? We're gonna go ahead and use this. I gotta clean these today. I wonder what we're gonna do with this in our junk journal. Is it just gonna be a panel? Should we put lines on it? I don't know. Leave a comment in the comment section. Or would you like to see this into a card? I like it. This, I love pumpkins. Doing Halloween. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this. I had such a blast doing it. I love making messes and not getting too messy. Yes, that's an oxymoron. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed Spooky Season Craft today. Until next time, happy crafting.